Okay, so third time is the charm. We tried this 2 times yesterday, and I think there was technological glitch. I don't know what happened. It would still keep freeze up on me. So in the midst of my podcast here, it kept freezing. So here I go, the third time. So hopefully today we won't experience any glitches. I hope all of you guys are doing really good. It's Tuesday morning. And I just want to kind of start out by saying that we've been working super duper hard. Our team and I have been so busy creating the most amazing content for our educational program, as well as because we are committed to being the best in the world in providing the most comprehensive, applicable training in functional yoga medicine, which aims to break down the dogmas of each and every disciplines and bring the best practices that will ultimately elevate our identity as truly the holistic practitioners who really at the end of the day are in the business of promoting health and wellness. So we want to elevate the way you think about who you are. And that means whether you're a yoga teacher, functional medical doctor, physician, or a physician's assistant, physical therapist, or a nutrition in any given field of what we call holistic medicine, because all these things fall under that umbrella, that you up level your identity to know that you've got to be able to broaden the scope of your practice to include psychology, nutrition, physical medicine, functional medicine, through the practice of yoga that unionizes or truly integrates all different elements of the human body together. This is what's really lacking in our medical system, even our alternative system. We get so locked into the dogmas of understanding that we have a certain way of thinking. If you're a chiropractor practicing nutrition and teaching your patients how to do all these things, right? I have a different mindset, or the training that I have within the field and scope of physical therapy, physical medicine. Same thing as a registered dietitian. I have a certain scope of practice that I have to honor. And if they need something else, I need to refer them out. And so the patient, you know that I'm a patient for over 20 years, I'm left to navigate what it is that I need. But at the end of the day, in order for us to optimize our health, what do we need? We need to be able to sleep a restful night's sleep. We need to be able to have the mindset to be able to do the things we need to do. That means psychology. And then we need to eat the right foods that's good for our body. We need to be able to move. And then we need to be able to be spiritual or soulfully aligned with why it is what we do, and really be able to understand who we are as a whole being. That means you as a practitioner, me as a patient and a practitioner, we are all in this together having a human experience. The most important thing is that we fail to address the mindset of the patients that we treat. It is known fact that I've seen many functional medical patients seek care inside of a yoga class. And sometimes the physical therapists are in the yoga class trying to get another piece, right? We're all searching for that. And we all want the nutritional advice to help us live better lives. So these are all dogmatic things, but at the end of the day, every single one of us needs to be able to move. And so we are looking at fitness and wellness. And so in the same vein, we have personal trainers, we have yoga teachers, we have yoga classes. And within yoga, there's different types of yoga, right? And then even in the field of nutrition, it's almost when I was graduate from a nutrition program, getting my master's degree in public health nutrition, I had to go through what's called to obtain registered dietitian license in each state to up level my game to be able to provide medical nutrition therapy. And so I had to explain what that was. But common people know my field as nutritionists. So I had to like really defend my profession to say, hey, I've got a higher level education than a nutritionist who might have gone through 6 months of education on something. We have a very didactically oriented program where we understood pathology. But at the end of the day, how does that help those people who want to just lose a few pounds, or those people who just want to maintain their health? There's different conversations happening all over. And I feel like we're getting divided and divided. And as the internet brings all of us together, it's becoming a pool of confusion. And over the 20 years as a clinical practitioner in both psychology, nutrition, physical medicine, and functional medicine, and now even yoga, it's like I almost always have to defend what we do and why it is we do what we do. And it's like even in the same field, I have to sort of navigate the jargons that surround only to confuse us. But you know what happens is confused mind doesn't take action. So I'm all about creating a truly integrative practice called the functional yoga medicine to really provide you with anything that's functional that we need in our lives, all the things that I mentioned. In order to function, we need to be able to sleep, we need to be able to eat, we need to be able to be happy and joyful and find all the balances, as well as to move and have a very healthy mindset, right? That's functional. And then medicine, because we want the healing approach, because most of us are walking around with suboptimal health. We all need some help in this toxic world. And yoga, because it pulls everything together. With that mindset, I want to tell you that we're committed to bringing you the best of the best education founded in these principles, utilizing the best practices in psychology, nutrition, physical medicine, functional medicine, and yoga medicine to pull it all together so that you become elevated in your ability and your thinking, so that you can be empowered to learn all the things you need to learn so that you can embody health and wellness and success in your own life as well as in your business venture, so that you can provide the holistic, truly holistic care that your clients are seeking. That means you have to change your identity from who you think you are, whether it's a physician, physical therapist, occupational therapist. We get so lost in our respective scope that when we defend our limitations in that linear mindset, we can't really help our clients in a holistic way. That's the whole premise by which I feel called in this world to develop the best program to bring forth, so that I can tie all the things together so that we all understand how interconnected everything is. So we're all about focusing on the solution to the problem, right? Not overly focused on the problem, because I feel like that's what's happening. And in any given field, in any didactic training program, we focus so much on the doing. What do we do? What do we prescribe our clients to do? To follow these poses, or follow this diet, to follow this supplement, follow these medications. We know they should do these things, but we overemphasize the doing because that's at the level that we know. But Einstein said it best. We can't solve problems in the same state of mental faculties as we created them. So we have to elevate. We have to empower, and we have to embody a newer level of understanding and knowledge and applied knowledge to truly become the health practitioner that we're called to be. If that's you, keep listening, because today I want to talk to you about the importance of nutrition. So we've got movement, we've got the foods, and we've got the mental faculties to want to choose the right foods, right? So when you're helping people to be their best in their lives, to eat the best foods, don't get lost in the different diets, right? Too many of the approaches are very restrictive. We want to focus on the being of the client that's there. When we're talking about food and nutrition, understand that the mindset behind, the driver of the action to choose the foods for their body is much more important than the foods themselves. Don't get lost in the study of food, or don't turn your back and say the nutritionist across the town will help you to eat the right foods, because knowledge isn't something your clients need. They need applied knowledge. They need an ability to be mindful and really address their mental health to be able to follow through with the program, right? And so I called our program Functional Yoga Medicine is an upside down approach to have you guys all be pattern interrupted in your respective fields so that you can have an expansive understanding of what the potentials are. It's going to have you really elevate the way you learn, as well as to apply them in your own lives. So you're not just a teller of the doer, right? But you are actually the embodiment, because you're speaking from experience. You're showing them what to do. And that's the difference, because these days in this crazy world, messenger, you are more important than the message itself. All the times that I've known people, there's a saying in what's called neuro-linguistic programming. Who you are speaks so loudly that I can barely hear what you're saying. Really let that sink in. So if you're in the health care industry and you yourself are not doing the things that you're asking your clients to do, then I want you to change the mindset and be committed to your own health and understand what it all requires, and really know the transformation and the change that's required from the inside out. It's the Yin approach. Deep down inside, I want you to have the deep roots to understand what to eat, what to do, how to move, how to think, and really clearly know who you are, where you're anchored, and align yourself to the true core mission and the values that you want to hold as you manifest your life in the doing, and then have a macroscopic approach, the Yang approach, to understand what you've got to do, all the things above, so that you can have balance in the middle. Don't get stuck in the middle, you guys. And that's where I think a lot of the practitioners are getting stuck, because I've been in the rooms where weekends, right, are spent 8 hours in a given conference room with cold air conditioned rooms. We're like sardines packed in there. I'm talking specifically about the Institute of Functional Medicine training programs, where we're getting bombarded by the lecturers up at the top, that they're so far that they have to be on a big screen projected to me while I'm taking notes. And then the weekend, like it's about 3 days. And then the weekend is over. And then on Monday, when I return to my practice, I'm now supposed to apply everything that I've learned. Well, it's been a decade of that, like the learning process, getting the certifications, doing all the things to check or cross all the T's and dot all the I's to get the certification. I'm looking at all that to recognize, oh my goodness, knowledge doesn't help our clients. And don't use that knowledge as a way for you to buffer and get lost in the sciences, because no matter what you think, it's the microbiome, it's the epigenetics, it's the mutations, or it's this, it's that. There's so many different research papers in the realm of knowledge and intellect that if you don't address it with the wisdom and the intuition that you possess by tapping into the innermost being, that's you, and really get aligned to understand all the knowledge, to have a global, wise and intuitive approach to your client's healing journey, that you're not going to have a significant role. You're going to be marginalized, and you're going to have only short-term impacts in the lives of the clients that you serve. Why is that? Because we know that our human beings, right, we're so busy doing that we stopped being. We're human beings. That means we have a certain way that we think about our circumstances of our lives, and those thoughts trigger our feelings. We're very emotional, right? And then from those feelings, we take action or inaction. And so in the taking of the action is where the clients come to us to either get a prescribed medication, prescribed dietary protocol, prescribed supplements, or even physical therapy exercises, occupational therapy exercises, whatever it is in our scope of practice so that they can do, but they're still going home left with their own thought vices, their mental faculties, and then the feelings that they produce. And if we don't teach them through the practice of yoga to interconnect all the dots, to give the power back to them, to elevate the way they think about their own health and wellness, to really empower them with all the tools that we have that addresses both their psychology, psychosomatic effects, as it relates to their nutritionals and nutritional nourishment, as well as the act of eating, the feelings of eating, and habit of eating, as well as to help them to physically move through the practice of physical medicine, and then also applying what you know about functional medicine. If you don't address all of that together under the umbrella of yoga, which is really, the definition is union to self, right? Deepest versions of themselves, that your clients will always be left lost. And so this is the most effective way for you to address them. I've invested in so much didactic training, both at the university level, didactic intelligent, but also I've always been a secret, soulful person who loved energy medicine, like studying of the aura, transcendental meditations, Kundalini yoga, and all the energy, right? And then Eastern philosophies, Ayurveda, all those things, the energy medicine, the quantum physics, the laws of abundance, all these things were of significant interest to me, as well as self-help. There's a lot of business things that I've had to learn in digital marketing, in all the things I've learned from the best, I've invested with the best. So I have all the abilities to pull it together. But you as a practitioner, unless you're committed to your own success and you're ready to do this right, to serve your patients or clients long-term, you must elevate the way you approach your practice or you as the practitioner. Okay, so with that being said, as far as the nutrition is concerned, it's an area where it needs to be incorporated within the field of functional yoga medicine, not as a health coach, not as a nutritionist, and only having that hat on, but really addressing it from the psychological standpoint and what the client needs from the microscopic nutrient need that they have to what they need to move, like to do the physical activity in their lives, as well as what is preventing them from absorbing all the nutrients. Because you and I both know we're living in a world where most of the functional medical doctors are prescribing these very limited elimination diets to FODMAP diets. And it's not uncommon for me to get a patient who's down to 2 to 5 foods. They are really degenerating super fast. They're wasting away in their muscles, or they're getting super obese and they don't even know why. It's not functional muscles that they're developing. The inflammation levels are so high, but yet their gut is so screwed up to a point where they can't tolerate these foods that they consume. So we want to heal them, and how we heal them is not just with the foods. You need to look at the nutritional science in the context of functional yoga medicine to understand what the nutritional role is, both in macroscopic and micronutrients, as well as how it affects them biochemically, as well as how it affects them systematically, as well as how it affects their musculoskeletal system, and above and beyond to affect their brain cells and brain chemistry, and really addressing the whole body being, right? So it has to go together. So these are the layers of education that we have. What I wanted to do was, in this episode, I wanted to really prevent you from making decisions about what kinds of diets are good for people, because you and I both know there's a keto craze right now. There's the paleo, and there is the Whole 30 craze, or even Intermittent fasting is really big. And you're going to see a lot of experts like Columbia University, Ivy League grad MDs coming out, putting their credibility on these things and further creating a scope of practice in their linear mindset to do that. But I want you to really break down all the barriers and be willing to look at the big picture and really be open-minded to connect the dots. Because even in the field of nutrition, I've studied macrobiotics, I've studied veganism, I've studied Eastern philosophies of traditional Chinese medicine and body type nutrition, as well as Ayurvedic medicine and nutritional sciences there, as well as registered diet guidelines, as well as medical nutrition therapy, and so much more. And there's so much coming onto the surface that it really depends on the client that is needing these nutritional interventions. But we want to get away from the hype of limited thinking in terms of foods, because my philosophy is the alkaline approach. It's all about creating balance, eating all the foods, really boosting up the threshold and immunology and gut health of the individual and strengthening them as a host to be able to increase their threshold for the toxins rather than perpetuating fear and eliminating all the foods and naming the foods as the toxins or toxic. And it creates a lot of fear in the clients while they're getting all their nutrients and necessary micronutrients from the supplements. And I want you to think about the enzymes that's available in the vegetables, and it's all the fibers that's there, the micronutrients. It's the organic whole organism that we're able to chew and masticate and to have the whole digestive functioning in its optimal level, right? If that's compromised, your clients will not be able to perform certain poses in a yoga class. Their energy levels will decline. It will affect their central nervous system. It will affect their autoimmunity to micronutrient, to gut biome, and all those things. So it doesn't really matter what you prescribe anymore unless you switch the way they look at food and go global to address the macroscopic view, the big picture view, with working with them on the deep picture view of the yin, right? Yin to the yang. And there is a strategic way by which we do this. And this is founded out of inspiration from so many of you who graduated from different coaching programs, health coaching to functional medicine. And I just have to say, many people graduate from those programs and they don't admit it, but they don't know what they're doing because they've got so much knowledge, but it's not applied yet. They don't know how it's going to play out in the individuals that they serve. All they've got is more data points, but they fail to address the person that's in front of them. We pay lip service to it in our trainings, but holistically, it's not being done. So that's the sixth sense I have about nutrition. Nutrition is super important because it is the currency for movement. It is the currency by which we live. It's adenotriphosphate, right? It's the elemental form of energy. It's in the way we assimilate how we eat and why we eat and how we're able to digest. There's so many variables along the way that I don't want you to get stuck thinking about a specific diet and looking in those terms. I want you to pull out and think about food whole differently to say, how can I strengthen the person in front of me so that they can take all these foods, not overly be focused on the problem, which is the toxins in foods. We've made it so much that food now is becoming the enemy. And there is a perpetuating business that's being had in the different dietary waters that we see and different supplements and different foods, health foods. And there's a whole lot of craze that's going on. And at the end of the day, it's all mad science, in my opinion. So stick to the basics and really be elemental. Have a bigger perspective. Don't get lost in the middle, and really tune out to understand. Sometimes we have to simplify to amplify, and that's what we aim to do in our functional yoga medicine program. We have our new website. We have our new Facebook page, as well as a private group. So if you're watching this elsewhere, check us out, Functional Medicine or functionalyogamedicine.com, as well as the Facebook page called Functional Yoga Medicine, and a small group where I appear live. It's called Functional Yoga Medicine. It's really going to be a way for us to really pull everything together. It's going to be the best in the world. And I can't wait to share all the curriculum that I've put together that pulls all the benefits from, like I said, psychology, nutrition, physical medicine, functional medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, and yoga together to tie it all together in a way that you can apply so that you can really truly elevate the way you practice, as well as to be empowered to utilize this information in a simple, easy way so that you can embody health and wellness and help others to do the same. Thank you so much for your time. I hope this was inspirational for you and that you find this information helpful. I'll see you guys all soon.